This is Malum John, and this is not about comedy. I know I like to do comedy sometimes, but this one, I want to ask you very important question. What makes African forget that white people is foreigners in Africa? What? Is there anyone can answer this question? What make African people forget that European people is foreigners in Africa? Foreigners that just came to Africa without using any passport. And then those foreigners came to Africa to create passport for African. Now, African people now searching each other for passport. That was created by who? But my question is that what makes us African forget that European is foreigners to any African countries or to Africa continent? What makes us forget that African, European is foreigners? Just tell me if you know the truth. Then my answer to this question is this one. European violated African people until African people see European as a citizen of Africa. Now, you find the African people chase away other African people, but no African people who chase white people as a foreigners. No, because African people we have to we reach to the point that we see European as a citizen of African countries because of the violence that was performed long time ago to our ancestors. Now, this generation, all of us, when we talk about foreigners, we don't include white people. We just see any African. Let's make an example as in South Africa. When South Africans see white people, deep down in their mind, they know that white people is not foreigners. But who is foreigners? Is other black people from Africa. Why? Because white people violated black people until black people understand that we must not see white people as foreigners. You see, that is the answer of this question. So if you don't know, if it's not this answer, what makes us believe that white people is not foreigners, only black people is foreigners in Africa? Tell me the answer. I want to see the best. I want to hear the best answer. So we can recognize ourselves, our race, not violating our own race just because of a passport and ID. God created human without ID, without passport. This ID we are looking for. We're looking ID from human being. God did God create those things for us? We're separating ourselves. What's going to happen if sharks in the ocean looking for passport from other fish? What makes African people don't see European people as foreigners in Africa? Do you have this answer? Only, especially in South Africa, when we talk about the foreigners, we talk about Zimbabwe as black people. We talk about Somalia as black people. We talk about Indian that is poor as foreigners. But when we go to white people, even it's poor, it's not foreign. That is what we have in our mind. So what makes us don't recognize white people as foreigners in Africa or in South Africa? Because this is what started to confuse people. If white people say something, South African listen. But if black people say something, started again, that crook. But now, we take white people, we put them in position of peaceful people. Why? Because they use violence to our ancestors, to make our ancestors believe that white people are not wrong. Do you understand? That was the reason for us to see white people as citizens of all Africa. Now, if you have another answer than this one I have, just tell me. But in reality, citizens of South Africa don't see white people as foreigners. No. That is what is happening in this country. What is happening in South Africa is that if you wanted to see that African people lost their mind, including me, I am lost my mind. Why? Sometimes I believe that white people are not foreigners. I'm foreigners when I go to Zimbabwe. I'm foreigners when I go to Sud. I'm foreigners when I go to Mozambique. But white people, when it's going to Zimbabwe, Lesotho, where it's not foreigners. Then why is that? Because white people use force to make our ancestors to believe that white people are not foreigners. We must not see white people as foreigners, but only Somalian, Nigerian, Zimbabwean, Mozambican, Lesotho, only black people who have to see them as foreigners. This name of a foreigner is coming from Europe. Those passport and ID is the one that created this name of a foreigner. Without ID and passport, there is no reason to call each other foreigners. The immigration office is the one on the name of foreigners. So, without a home offense, no one can call each other foreigners, even if you are coming from different places. Tell me if I'm wrong. We're living by the law of Europeans. You like Europeans or not, but we're living by their rules, their laws. That's why we are confused now. Do you understand me?